So in this video, I want to show you how I'm going to shoot these flowers with both my camera as well as my phone. So for my camera, I'm using a 50mm lens, which I mentioned in a previous video. The 50mm lens is very similar to how your eye sees. I have my flowers set up. The window is to the left, and I'm using a seamless background. I'm using the paper that was on the roll to create a seamless background, and I have a whiteboard on the right side to fill in the shadows. Now, because it's pretty bright in here, I've set my camera to use an ISO setting of 160, and I'm using an aperture of 2.8. Now, I chose a 2.8 because I really like to have a little bit of blur going on. So I'm going to focus on the flowers, and the rest is going to be a little blurry. I'll do another shot afterwards where I increase my aperture so that I'll have more in focus, and I'll let you know the settings in that as well. So because I'm in manual mode, and again, I selected ISO 160, an aperture of 2.8, and I have a shutter speed of 125, and that's fast enough because nothing is moving here, and I have a 50mm lens, and it should be fine. So now I'm going to shoot. And you can see my exposure is pretty good. I'll definitely have a better view when I go in and look on my computer, but so far it's looking really good. So now I'm going to change my settings. And the way I change my settings, this is the back of my camera. I'm going to change the aperture, which is right over here. And I'm going to increase it so that more of my flowers will be in focus. So once I increase it, all of the other settings are going to change. I'm gonna have to manually go in and change that. So let's see, I'm gonna change it to an F11, and now I'm going to see what the other settings are going to be. I'm going to probably have to increase my ISO and my shutter speed, so let me just check. Yep, I need to increase my ISO. I need to go up a little further. Let's see. Okay, so now I have my ISO, I have an F11, which means more of my flowers are going to be in focus. My ISO now has to be at 1000, and my f-stop and my shutter speed, I'm sorry, is now at a 60, which is still okay because I'm using a 50mm lens, and it's still, so it should be fine. Okay, I'm going to take this shot now and see how it goes. And that should be great. So this was how it looks in the back of my camera. You can see, and then I'll do some editing and we'll see what the final results are. So now I'm going to take the same shot, but instead of using my camera, I'm going to use my phone. I don't have to worry about changing any of the settings, and it's pretty easy. So on my phone, I have two options I can do. I'm going to either use photo mode or portrait mode. I try not to ever use square because I like to have the flexibility to crop it later on. So I'm going to start with photo, going into photo, and I'm going to set up my shot. It looks a little bit different than it does with my camera, but it still looks good. When I want to focus on my phone, I set up my shot, and then I tap where I want my, my camera to focus. So I'm going to tap on the yellow flowers, and then all I have to do is take the picture. And there you go, that looks pretty good. Now I'm going to do the same shot with my phone, but in portrait mode. Portrait mode brings the image a little bit closer, kind of like zooming, and it also will blur the background a bit. So let's see how that goes. I'm going to set up my shot, tap on the screen where I want to lock in the focus, and then take my shot. With the phone, I notice I see a little bit of the whiteboard in my shot. I can always crop that out later. With my camera, I didn't see that. So I'm going to edit those 3 photos for you, and I'll show you what it looks like.